Welcome to DU Digimon.
Hello and welcome to DU Digimon and welcome to yet another video. If you're liking our content, please make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel and ding that notification bell so you're not missing out on any of the latest content. Now you may have noticed on Monday in our Gallantmon deck profile video, check that out if you have not, I said this was going to be another deck profile week. I lied. So we've got a ban list coming out in Japan being announced on the 23rd of August, being implemented on the 31st, and that very well could be a list that affects us in the English format, at least in the short term, and then in the long term will affect us ultimately when the formats marry up next year, hopefully, if everything goes well. For example, we still don't have BT17 at the time of recording this down at Dead Universe. It's madness. Asmodee, sort it out. Anyways, so we're going to talk about some of the decks that are going on that are kind of really taking the meta by storm in Japan at the moment. What sort of things could potentially be on the ban list? I think we know there are potentially some kind of old offenders when it comes to this sort of thing. So obviously we can see straight away here on Digital Card Information some, which I found via East's Twitter, or X. Sorry, I'm old-fashioned. I'll still call it Twitter to the day I die. Saying about goodbye Nume Uko. So that could potentially be something that's going to be hit. But let's have a look at the actual kind of most recent first place lists on Digimon Meta, and we'll see what's going on. So we've got a few of the usual suspects that we've had both in the English format and in the Japanese format for a while. Yellow Vaccine is up here at the top. We've got Magna X, the kind of blue version. So both versions of the armor deck still at the top here. We've got the Saphagamon deck here. We've got Blue Hybrid, Magna again. So 3 appearances of Magna already. Right here, Takumi Kazuchi, Kumamon Hybrid, Susanamon, which is kind of a mix of the red hybrid and blue hybrid stuff. We've got Galacticmon here, which is interesting. Obviously, I don't know if all of these tournaments are like large scale or if some of them are just like locals, or something. We've got a few Evo Cups up here and stuff like that. This is kind of a general mix of kind of tournaments. I think GAO is something quite big. I probably should have looked into that. Let me know in the comments below if you know what the GAO final is. We've got the purple hybrid, we've got the blue hybrids, we've got Omnimon Ace here, Mirage Galgamon making appearance, blue Cherubi, blue hybrid, black hybrid, Tyrant, yellow armor again, blue hybrid again, black hybrid again, Mirage again, Takumi Kazuchi, 7 Demon Lords, Magna again, purple hybrid, Rapidmon, the list goes on and on and on, and if you keep looking, we have one in particular which keeps making appearance. It's either in terms of it being called Blue Hybrid or being called Ancient Garurumon. We have got Blue Hybrid type shenanigans going on. There's Gabu Hybrid. Gabu Hybrid got a first place somewhere, which is pretty cool. You've got Numon here as well, right down here at the bottom. There's actually not a lot of Numon on this most recent list, but I think that's still something we've definitely got to talk about. I mean, if I go onto the next page, there we go. So first place, Numamon. All it took was going on the second page and was Numamon. Loads of Numamon. So we'll have a talk about Numamon as well. But let's first have a look at this. So this is the kind of most recent blue hybrid win that I could find. This is submitted by Aolos. I'm hoping I'm saying your name correct. Who is from Malaysia and did this at an Evo Cup. So obviously, there's quite a few things going on here, but the main culprit right here is the Ukkomons. Ukkomon has been a staple in meta-winning decks for a long, long time. Like, we've been seeing it, obviously, most famously in Numamon. It's been the main engine of Numamon, whether you're playing purple base, red base, yellow base, God forbid, I don't know. Numamon's played blue base? Probably not, but so you've got these two here, obviously meaning the business. We've got the Koromon as well from BT14. Now, this might be a controversial opinion because I like this Koromon. I like using it, in some of my red lists. But I wonder if this Koromon is too generic. When a card is removed from your opponent's security stack, draw 1. This could potentially be something to hit as well, but I think obviously the main thing, if we're looking to hit blue hybrid, is going to be the Ukos. You could potentially take a look at the actual blue hybrid cards as well. Obviously, these are quite strong, but I think if you start hitting these, you just kill the deck, which Bandai will not want to be doing with blue hybrid soon to be making its way into the meta contentions over here. Well, to be fair, it probably already has in the US where it got hit on time. I'm not bitter. Anyways, so I think Ukkomon is probably going to be a number one contender. I mean, if we go into the next list, Numon, obviously most famously, Ukkomon has been living in Numon rent-free for a while. We've got one copy of Ukkomon in this yellow armor list as well, which is surprising. None in the black hybrid, but again, here's Ukkomon making an appearance in this purple hybrid build. So we've got quite a bit of Ukkomon making its ugly little face known. Sorry to all the Ukkomon fans out there. I just I recognise he's a very good card. I just don't like the design. But yeah, I think Ukkomon is probably going to be contender number one. He's been too generic. I mean, possibly maybe so you're not killing big Ukko. Maybe make it so that you can only play Ukkomons if you're playing the big Ukko, like big Ukkomon package as well. I don't know how well you'd be able to implement that on the ban list, but that could be an idea just to make sure that you the people that do like Ukkomon, whoever you are, can still play that deck. Well, to be fair, I say whoever you are. Beardy Dan down at locals loves Ukkomon. We had a running joke that basically Ukkomon was in every single one of his decks at one point. So I think Ukkomon, it's time for Ukkomon to go. Personally, it's still obviously making the business in Japan. Still does the business over here. It is a crazy card. Both of them are crazy cards. The promo or the BT16 one. I'd be happy with either of them being limited or both. In terms of what's going on. I mean, it's annoying because I do use the BT16 one. I don't use the promo because I was stupid and trading them all away. But the BT16 one is a very good card that makes a lot of consistency available in a lot of decks. And really helps giving like a rookie rush element to everything. So I think it's time. It's time for it to go. What are we going to talk about next? So we could obviously blue hybrid. I think we would kill the deck if we go too much into what we can do. But saying that, here's a potential contender: Heaven's Judgment. Heaven's Judgment has been steadily growing in power since EX4. The more colors make their way into decks, the more it has become great. I mean, just look at blue hybrid. Blue hybrid, we've got red stuff available because they're playing a red base version, so they can play stuff like Crimson Blaze, Trident Gaia. They've got white from the Ukkomons, the Bokomons. They've got blue and yellow from the actual hybrids themselves. Purple and black potentially from Death X. Heaven's Judgment's going to be making a lot of DP minuses in this. And the fact is, it triggers -6 if every single time, but that's not all on one Digimon. It is widespread. So depending on on the kind of board you're going against, this could clear an entire board. Just this one card. Just this one card if you've got enough colours. -6 initial trigger. Blue, yellow, purple, black, red, white. I mean, that's insane. That's, so that's what? White, red, blue, yellow, purple, black. That's bonkers. That's 36,000 just on its own. And the initial trigger, that's 42k. That's 42k. That's insane. So I think Heaven's Judgment could potentially be a card to go. I mean, obviously, you wouldn't be able to get away with limiting it. Look, you're only using one copy of it in this deck here. So potentially, I think Heaven's Judgment could be an outright banned card. With more and more colours being available in the card game, it's just getting better and better. So probably better to nip it in the bud now, I would think. And that's again saying that because I do love using this card personally, but it is incredibly strong. Let's take a look at Numon next. So again, we don't really want to touch too much of the actual Numon cards because it will just completely destroy the deck. And I know Numon's pretty good because although it's incredibly good and has been impressive for a long time, obviously it's now starting to falter a bit against Blue Hybrid. I think in general Blue Hybrid is winning a lot more in Japan than Numon has been. And also the other thing with Numon, which is really good, is for a lot of players. Apologies, I was up till 2 o'clock in the morning doing editing last night, so my voice is a little bit croaky. But we've got, this is a deck which is actually fairly cheap to build. So it would be a shame to see it go because I mean there are some decks looking at like yellow armor and stuff like that are so expensive to build, in comparison. So it's nice to have a meta deck that is cheap for people to build, for those that don't want to dish out on 60 quid for secret rares. So it would be a shame to see it go. Things you could potentially look at, and these are all things we talked about in our last ban list speculation video a couple of months ago. You've got Numon X, Monzemon X, the RB1 Monzemon, potentially all could be candidates. I think Monzemon X is probably the one which is the most famous. Another one that could be banned or limited, bearing in mind there's only one copy of it in this deck, is Ukkomon. Ukkomon is really good. Now, I use this in my Jumbo Dillo list, and that's not a meta deck. But he is just... All you got to do, if you're in a bind and you've got an ace in your hand, just play him out. -3, attack me, on your turn, on their turn, ace. And that's exactly what this deck wants to do. Look, we've got an Ukkomon, we hard play it, or Digivolve on top of one of our dudes, go into Black Seraphimon. Shadow Seraphimon, sorry. Or you could go into Valkyrmon Ace, as well, because it is yellow. So Ukkomon is a very good card, and actually its inheritable is quite generic in Numon specifically, because it is, when opponent's turn, you mill the top 3 and you play something with a play cost of 3 or less. It doesn't say Ukkomon specifically, or Chumon specifically, it's just 3 play cost or less. So it can play any rookie, or in this case, any of the champion line, because all of Numon is 3 cost or lower, to flood the board more. Obviously they do go in the trash, and you do that will empty the deck, so you can mill yourself out potentially, but Numon's so quick that doesn't really matter. So Ukkomon could actually be another contender for a limitation, even though there's only one copy of it in this list. I don't think you would kill it, because again, you take too much of it away, suddenly Ukkomon can't do what it wants to do. So Digimon Emperor, nah, I think that's fine to stay. That's only in the meta because of stuff like Ukkomon, so I don't see that really going. Louis maybe, but I think Louis is only as good as the Ukkomons you pair it with. So, but yeah, that's Numon. I think that's kind of what I'm thinking there. Next, we'll look at Yellow Armor. So this is actually the most recent winner on these lists. So if I go back to the previous page, it is this one here, the GOW final. Again, that was a Bandai hosted tournament, so I'm assuming that's a big tournament. I don't know for sure. Let me know in the comments below if you do know. I think I've already said that, but yeah, whatever. So let's look at Yellow Armor. So they've got one copy of Ukkomon. So sorry, again, clearing my throat. Limiting the Ukkomon here wouldn't necessarily be too much of a hamper on this deck, but I know of Yellow Armors that have played more Ukkomon, but the fact is this still one with only one copy, so there's that. This could be a potential contender, Nyaromon, because of the fact this is this on its own triggers your Magnamon X. This just goes, okay, we're attacking, we're trashing something. Oh, we trashed something, cool. I unsuspend. I have 3000 DP. I'm unaffected by everything. So that, I think, potentially is something you could do, is get rid of the Nyaromon. But again, saying that, this deck's only playing one copy. Some people play more, but that is only one copy. So would it really help that much? Don't know. Now here's a real contender, Patamon from BT14. Now Patamon is just bonkers. I mean, if you've got, even if you're doing it just randomly, if you luck out and there's a level 4 in there, I mean, look at this. Both of these champions that they're playing this build, the 2 Rapid Mons, both of them are cost of 4 with a Patamon normally, but because they're yellow and they're armor and they're vaccines, you could just go into them for free. And it's crazy. It's been, Patamon has been a really crazy card, especially because of the fact it also triggers its own effect, because it then adds something back in, and then it's like, oh, my inheritable's live because I Digivolved, I gain a memory, woohoo. So I think Patamon could potentially hit a limitation. Do I want it to? No, because I use it in 3 Great Angels. But do I think it could be a potential limitation? Abso-freaking-lutely. I think that's something that could be going sometime soon, and many of the guys in the group will absolutely agree with me on that. Let's look at what else there is. Let's talk about Magnamon X as well. Magnamon X is tricky because it does what a boss monster should do, which is be a potential game ender. Are there things in the meta currently that could that can hurt it. Absolutely. Are those things in the meta things that potentially should be hit? Yes. If they do get hit, should Magnum on X still be around? It's tricky to say. I personally think Magnum on X can stick around so long as we've got kind of other ways to deal with it. Especially because it is a boss monster, and I think if you're getting rid of stuff like the Patamons and stuff like that, it makes it a lot harder to go into in the yellow list at least, and then you'd have to play the blue version. But the real crux of Magnum on X is the fact that it requires Magnamon or armor form, not X antibody, armor form in your sources. So it's any armor. So you've got your Rapidmons here. So these Rapidmons, if they're in the sources of your Magnum on X, that's fine. That counts. It's all good. So that's the real crux of Magnum on X, is the fact that it's armor form and not X antibody. If it was X antibody, it'd be way more limiting. But I believe it's the reason it's got armor form is it's obviously in keeping with its theme, and I think also the BT9 Magnum on X had the same text. I could be wrong, but that's kind of the thing. I don't think Magnum on X deserves a hit. I know a lot of people that would have bought a playset of it that'd be absolutely pissed if it gets limited. Or errated. Errata would be the lesser evil, I suppose. But I think the real hit to yellow armor is going to be your Patamons, potentially your TKs as well, because of the what's going on there, and actually Emissary. Emissary's crazy. You could also potentially hit Awakening of the Gold Digizoid, or the Golden Knight, or whatever we call it, as well, because both of these allow you to cheat into your level 6s essentially. This will allow you to ignore going into a Magnum on X, and this will obviously let you go into a level 6 for 1 potentially. So both of these could potentially be contenders for hitting this deck as well. Heaven's Judgment making another appearance as well. So lots of stuff going on in this deck, and a lot of different contenders for deletion, if you will. Let's take a look at Black Hybrid now. This is actually a list that I've seen pop up on here a couple of times. So where was it? So Black Hybrid Mother, yeah. So this has popped up a couple of times, and this is a list which uses the Mother Shoto combo. So this could potentially be a banned pair. I wouldn't want to see Shoto get limited or anything, because that just hurts the Savagamon, and that doesn't make sense. That's our new flagship Digimon at the moment, so that doesn't make sense to me. Banning them as a pair in a deck, though, that does make sense. The only thing is that Mother D Shoto combo is really good at dealing with Magnum on X. So if Magnum on X is still around, these guys might be required to keep it in check. If you take these two away, Magnum on X becomes better, so you need to hit the Magnum on X deck if you're going to hit this pair. So I think that's a pretty interesting call. I don't know what else you would look at hurting in this deck. I mean, to be fair, I've not seen the Black Hybrid stuff. It looks really interesting, actually. I wouldn't mind giving it a go, and I do have a lot of the cards that are in it, obviously barring the the new stuff that we haven't got yet. But yeah, it's a really cool little deck, actually. I really like it. I always like playing black. It's a really fun colour for me. But yeah, I think the main thing here is going to be that Mother D Reaper Shoto combo, making that a banned pair. Not actually limiting the cards themselves, but just making it so that they can't be used in a deck. But obviously, if we're going to do that, we need to make sure we hit the decks that combo specifically is keeping in check. Then what's the last deck we're looking at? I think this is just another blue hybrid list. So Susanoo one, and this is kind of more purple hybrid. Again, it's just a showcase of Ukkomon and how good that card is. So I think Ukkomon's absolutely definitely the number one wanted hit at this point for most people. I mean, there's a lot of other interesting decks. There's a Greymon that's still up here in in the GAO qualifier up here. Actually a really cool list, but Greymon's not going to be getting hit anytime soon. But maybe whilst we're on that subject, actually, Greymon could be something that we look at kind of buffing, maybe. I'd say this is a Greymon player, I would love that. But maybe it's time for Greymon X to come back. Semi-limitation or a limitation. Maybe there's some other stuff. So it's not on here, but Argomon. You could potentially bring back the level 5 Argomon that's limited for that deck. It is a very good card, absolutely, but Digiburst itself as a mechanic is not as kind of strong as it used to be, so that could be something to look at. You maybe could look at, I mean, Garurumon absolutely got killed when it lost its X engine, to be fair, which I get why, because the purple decks were abusing it. But maybe that's something that could be addressed. Maybe we could start seeing some of the Garurumon stuff coming back. I don't think a lot of people are playing Garurumon. I know Charles, one of his favourite Digimon of all time is Metal Garurumon, and he doesn't even play Garurumon anymore because he finds it a really boring deck to play. But you could potentially look at bringing those back. But I think you'd have to really think about it first, because do we want a lot of purple decks abusing that again? Probably not. So that's definitely something to think about. But I think that's about all I've got to talk about today, guys. Let me know in the comments below if there are any other cards that you guys would like to see banned in Japan come the 23rd. Obviously, it all could be stuff that's going to be affecting us in the near future. So let me know what you guys are thinking. But like, subscribe, ding that notification bell, and join us on Friday for the 3rd episode of Digital Masochist. I decided to put that video out early because I say early, we didn't quite hit the like threshold on it, but I got bored, so I decided to do it anyway. So make sure you join us on that and give it 10 likes, otherwise I'm definitely not doing another one. Join us next time, but until we see you again, keep it digital.